Hey, it's time for the first Love in Lebanon podcast of 2024. Kicking off the new year is the new CEO of the Community Foundation of Boone County, Julie Reagan. Julie shares what first attracted her to the organization 5 years ago and why she finds the job so rewarding. Julie also highlights some of the great plans the Community Foundation of Boone County is working on for 2024. Episode 148 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, and welcome to 2024 here on the Love in Lebanon podcast. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Joe LePage, the City of Lebanon Community Development Director. Boy, it is so exciting to have you here for the first podcast of 2024. Would love to know what you think about our new microphones. Santa came and brought a couple of new mics that we're using. Hopefully the sound quality is a bit better, and so we're hoping to pass that along to you. Let us know at loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov. And man, what a fantastic first guest of the new year. We're talking with the new CEO of the Community Foundation of Boone County. We've got Julie Reagan here on the first pod of 2024. Julie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me so much.
Hey, your voice sounds great on the new mics.
Okay, great, good. That's awesome.
Appreciate you being here and being on this podcast to get us rolling for the new year. And what a great new year it is. Yeah. And want to hit it first, everybody. Full transparency. We're always transparent on the podcast. Julie and I come from the same small town
Yes.
in Carroll County, the metropolis of Delphi, Indiana.
Big town of Delphi.
What? I mean, how great is this? Two Delphi kids talking on a podcast in Lebanon. That's hilarious.
Now with our families and with everybody here. Here we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at us. Look at us.
Yeah.
Could send it back home. But I don't know about you, Julie, but Delphi and Lebanon, there are a lot of similarities. Yeah. Lebanon obviously larger than Delphi and in different location, part of the state and all that. But do you feel like there's some similarities with our community where we grew up and then where we're raising our kids and all that?
Yeah, definitely. It's really neat when I think back about growing up in Delphi. It had that small town, well, it is a small town, but it had that small town feel where everybody knew everybody, and it was just neat when you'd go to the store, you'd see friends of your parents and just see family friends. And that's something that's special about Lebanon here for my husband, Craig, and then our two boys who go to Lebanon. Just when we're out in the community, we're at games, you see people, you're aware of what people are doing and how things are going, and it's just that small town feel where you can have that conversation with everybody. So,
and I don't know about you guys, what brought you to Lebanon? For us, it was the traditional, and stop me if you've heard this, everybody. We've heard so many of these stories of, well, one spouse was working in the Lafayette area, and another spouse got a job in Indianapolis, and it was like, what the heck? Let's try Lebanon, and then there's something in the water. You get here, and you get totally ingrained under that was what it was for us.
Yeah.
What brought you guys here?
Yeah, it's pretty much along that same type of a story. Yeah. So I went to Purdue. So boiler up for any boiler fans listening.
Whatever.
Right. But we spent some time in Lafayette while I was finishing up my studies there. And then my husband worked at Witham Hospital here. So he worked there for over 20 years. So he commuted from Lafayette for a while. And then when I graduated, we ended up coming here. And then here we are now, 16, 17 years later, still here.
And I don't know what it is about this community. It just has the touchy-feely, the heartstring tug, all that stuff. Just really just kind of gets in your crawl, and you just become a part of it and love it, and it's home. For sure.
It is. Yeah, it definitely has the home vibe, and it has enough to keep the kids busy as well. So I appreciate everything the City of Lebanon and all of the other communities have done in the county of bringing in attractions to keep the teenagers busy and to give them different things to do. And so it's fun that our boys can have fun with their friends here locally and not have to necessarily drive half an hour, 45 minutes to do things. And then we're able to work here and have fun here and just do all of the things here. So we really, really love it.
And how great is it for you also to be able to work for an organization like the Community Foundation of Boone County? Because again, transparency, everybody. I was working in Indianapolis at a TV station, but it just didn't feel like I was offering something to where I was living. And I'm guessing there are some similarities for you as well, working downtown and in the Indianapolis area.
Yeah. So before I worked at the Community Foundation, I worked in higher education, and I worked at IUPUI, and I loved it. I loved every single minute about it. The commute wasn't too bad, honestly. I loved being able to help people and figure out what they wanted to do next with their life and help them troubleshoot through struggles and just figure out what that next step was for them. And I was in higher ed for about 10 years, but started realizing I was getting old And so I wasn't on the same so I wasn't on the same level necessarily as the students anymore. But then really I felt that draw to want to make an impact where I lived and be able, spend when I'm working, if I can be working where I also live and have that impact in the local community really was pulling on my heart. And so that an opportunity came up at the Community Foundation. That's been 5 years ago now. Actually, like almost to today, it's been 5 years ago. Yeah.
I remember seeing the post where they were celebrating you 5 years on staff there.
And so that position opened up. And so I explored it, and it was a perfect match and a perfect fit with a wonderful organization. So I started at the Community Foundation doing all things communications, marketing, kind of ramping that up.
Which is a strength you have. I mean, the relationships and obviously the marketing side and storytelling are all things that you excel in. So, I mean, that was a natural fit, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. So it really was able to, focus on the relationships. It was a very external facing job, running Women of Impact of Boone County, which is an amazing group that's grown. But then also telling our story through graphic design and website and social media and really growing those things. So I did that for a couple years and then was promoted to VP of Advancement. So in that role, then I started taking on more strategic planning for the organization, helping some with scholarships, just helping support Allie. She's our Director of Education and Grant Making. So just help support the processes of things. And then most recently, then I stepped into that interim CEO role for a couple months and then now CEO. So that's the 5-year, that's what it's been. In a nutshell. Yeah.
But it seems like that was a whirlwind for you to be able to get into an organization, to utilize your strengths, and then being able to, staff changes happen everywhere in all walks of life. And we all know that from personal experience. Yeah. But then being able to step into that role, did you ever think that you would one day have that business card change over to CEO of any organization, let alone the Community Foundation of Boone County?
Yeah. So I think I always felt in my heart that it would be neat to eventually have that one day.
Gotcha.
I love working with people and relationships, but I also really love strategic planning and making a plan and then figuring out what's the best way to do that. And so I think in the back of my mind, I always thought that might be cool, but I never knew if that would really happen, especially this quickly. But when the opportunity came up, we have a wonderful board of directors and our staff is phenomenal. And so when just like you said, staff changes happen. And so then they approached me to step into the interim role. And of course, I felt like it was the right timing. It's been a blessing, the path that I've had with the Community Foundation, because I've been in everything. And so I felt like I already had that knowledge. So to be able to step in and help guide the team, mainly through that interim period, but then also really working with all of our community partners, we really wanted to take this opportunity organically to figure out what does it look like next for the Community Foundation. And so through that, we met with like Indiana Philanthropy Alliance. We met with a lot of community partners, donors, fund advisors, consultants. We did a lot during interim, just figuring out really, here's who we are now, here's who we want to be, what does that path look like to get us there, and what does that permanent CEO role position look like, what does that person look like, what do they need to have. So it was a very thorough process, all while still working on relationship building and working with people and connecting and still trying to continue forward with the Community Foundation. So that was a couple months period. And then through that process, then I was asked to step into the CEO role once that identification process was complete. And we felt like, here's what we need. The board felt like that was me. So it was a process focused on relationship building and what the foundation needs to look like moving forward, and how we can reach our goals, especially with all the growth coming to Boone County and what it looks like now versus 5, 10, 20 years from now. So trying to really think forward. So not only with our organization in terms of like our strategic plan, but also as a team. So here's what our team is now. So we currently, as long as the market continues to be kind to us through the end of the year, we currently are a little over 32 million in net assets. So that's the first time we've ever exceeded the 32 million mark. Nice. So that's very exciting. We want to get to 50, right? And then beyond, because the more that we have, the more that we can give out to nonprofits. And that's our main focus. For anybody listening who's not aware of the Community Foundation, our main goal is to address local needs. And so we do that through awarding grants to nonprofit organizations who serve Boone County, but then also by awarding scholarships to local students who want to further their education in a lot of different ways. So that's who we are, right, at our core. So the more that we can grow the more that then we can award out.
And that's what I was going to, you took the words right out of my mouth and then kind of transitioned into the next topic was just kind of the education piece of the Community Foundation, because you're talking about net assets, and it's not Scrooge McDuck, swimming in money and being able to have that.
Yeah.
You guys take that and then redirect it as it's best needed throughout the community and throughout the county, and being able to do that. That's got to be so great to be able to help people who want to give back, but not exactly sure knowing how to do that, how to best do that.
Yeah.
You guys identifying the need and then helping to meet it.
Yeah. It's really powerful to be able to have conversations with people who want to make an impact and want to help, but they just need some help. Whether it's they want us to manage the dollars and do the work, or they're like, we want to focus on this area, youth development, elderly, whatever it looks like, mental health. We want to help in this area. They know we have the relationships with the nonprofits, so then they entrust us to steward their dollars well to be able to award that out. So we award dollars out through grant applications. So for 2024, we have 3 or 4 different grant opportunities for nonprofits. That's on our website for anybody who's listening. So nonprofits can apply to us for dollars. And then we have a wonderful grants committee that consists of our board, some of our board of directors, and then community volunteers. And so we have a grant rubric. We have a very thorough vetting process. They review the applications and then determine where the dollars go. So we do some like that. Some funds are set up where they just always want to forever support a specific church or a specific nonprofit. So every year they get an automatic check. And then some are scholarships, donor advised funds. I could talk all day about all of the different things. It's all on our website though. And if anybody is listening who would just want to, they want to help, they're not sure how, I would encourage them to go to Connect Boone County online. So that is a website that we launched a couple years ago. If you're looking for volunteer opportunities, nonprofits who have a financial need, or it's just a wish list, we keep all of that information on there. Or they can always email me as well. And then we can always have a conversation on how we can best help. Our role is to help people who want to help, right? And so we have an investment firm who manage all of our dollars. And then every year we spend out a certain percent. And that's the dollars that we award out in scholarships and grants.
And everybody, the email address and things that Julie is talking about, I'll put that in the body of the podcast. So you can just click on that link and go and all the contact info for the Community Foundation of Boone County, I'll put on the body of this podcast as well. And you're listening to the CEO of the Community Foundation of Boone County, Julie Reagan, here on the first episode of 2024 in the Love and Lebanon podcast here for us, and being able to share just your excitement. You can just tell that there's a buzz. There's an excitement. You love what you do, even though
absolutely.
It sounds like it's kind of been drinking out of a fire hose, switching roles, and within 5 years, that's a lot to cram in there. You're doing it.
Yeah, but it's a wonderful feeling when you feel like you're in the right spot, right? And so that's where I think knowing that I have such a heart for relationships with people and genuine relationships with people, and having those conversations to be able to figure out how can we best help. Sometimes, sometimes it's you make a donation to us and then we award the dollars out. Sometimes it's connecting a donor directly with a nonprofit. Sometimes it's we bring partners together and then we step back and we're the number one cheerleader, and we will come to things when they want it to, like share the progress. But we are here just to really convene and bring people together. So we really focus in on that. And then something else that I think the community will start to see an increase of from the Community Foundation is our focus on sustainability of nonprofits. So the nonprofits in Boone County, we are blessed with amazing nonprofits that have the heart to help people locally, whatever the need is. Food insecurity, homelessness. I mean, unfortunately, the list.
It's a big list.
It's a big list.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's important to us to do what we can to elevate and empower those leaders and the staff and the volunteers, the board members of those important nonprofits. So this year in 2024, we're bringing back a capacity building initiative where nonprofits will be able to apply for a couple different leadership opportunities. So capacity building is such a term that can mean a billion different things. But for us, what it means for this year is if there's a leader from a nonprofit who wants some professional development opportunity, right? They want to be able to work with a consultant one-on-one. It's about a 7-month process.
Like help us do what we
yes.
want.
Yeah.
Better.
Here's what we're doing. What does it need to look like as a leader? Here's who I am. What can I be doing better? So that is one of the capacity building opportunities. Another one is a deep dive for the entire organization. And so that one is a consultant will work with the board. So, I mean, they have to really be ready to go. But we did this pre-COVID. We had to pivot, obviously, through COVID and then afterwards. But we're getting back to that because some of the nonprofits that participated in capacity building before, they are ran extremely well now, like Shalom House and Boone County Cancer. I mean, there are multiple who are doing extremely well now. And so that's important to us to not only fund a program, right? Fund, here's a need that we have now, but we also want to long-term invest into the nonprofits. And so we believe that can happen through capacity building. We also have Boone County Nonprofit Network, which is a group that last year we put together 4 different sessions. This year in 2024, it might be a little more, but we realize that nonprofits usually don't have a big budget for professional development, right? But it's important to organizations and their sustainability. So we, as the Community Foundation, are bringing in some different speakers to pour into the nonprofit. So that's another way we do that. And then, of course, just the relationships. It's so important for us to have relationships, not only with our donors and community partners, but also with the nonprofits themselves, so we can hear what are they seeing, what are the needs. Just keep us posted on things like that, so we're able to, use that information to figure out what it looks like for granting and stuff.
And you mentioned the email address, the website for people to with their funds and things. I'm guessing it's a similar way of communication if they're a nonprofit that wants to be able to be sustainable, to not just be here today, gone tomorrow type thing, but to have that lasting impact. Recommendations for a nonprofit executive director that may be listening to this pod to be able to pass along, to chat with you or someone else with the Community Foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. So any nonprofit can always, we love to have coffee, tea, lunch, it's our treat. But just to be able to pour into the nonprofits and hear what they're going through and see what we can do to help them. Sometimes it's just connecting them. We have a lot of nonprofits who need help with, they don't need help, but they want help with how can we best run this event. So we know there are some nonprofits who run events very well. So we will connect them. Right. And so then sometimes it's just, bringing together kind of like a mentor or a peer, right, to be able to be like, here's what we do, here's what's important to us. Through Boone County Nonprofit Network last year, we had one session that was hosted primarily on fundraising. And we had, don't hold me on this, but I think it was like 3 to 4 of the panelists were nonprofits. So they were able to just share with their peers, here's what we've done that works. Don't do this because we've tried it and it didn't work, right? And so just being able to share best practices is really important for us as a foundation with our own peers, but then also for nonprofits to be able to share their best practices. And we're just really here to come alongside the nonprofits and partner and see what we can do to help them.
Gotcha. I know we've just begun 2024, but and the collaboration initiative and the shepherdship that you're talking about is fantastic. Any other, as Miss CEO 5 years in with the Community Foundation of Boone County, any other initiatives you're kind of looking forward to for the rest of this year? I'm guessing with you guys are potentially growing as well with staff and things like that. You guys are always adding different arms to be able to help folks within our county. Yeah,
absolutely. So internally, we are growing as a team. So like I said, during the interim process and during that transition period, we organically just took advantage of the situation to be able to figure out what does our team look like and what should it look like to be able to grow, so that we don't want to have to change our team again in 1 or 2 years, right? So like, what do we need looking forward? And so we are currently in the process of growing our team right now. So once those people get in with our team, we'll really be able to do all the things and really be able to grow to what we need to do, where we need to be, so that then we can just award out more dollars, so that eventually we want to get to the point, which I know everybody would love if there's no needs, but unfortunately, realistically, that's not going to happen. And so if we can get to the point where instead of where we are awarding grants to fund a program, we would like to be able to start really digging deep into the root causes of the needs. And so what's causing this, and what's that cycle look like? So
deeper. So you've got high level and then you're getting in.
Yeah.
In
and
the
so
roots.
eventually, I mean, it's going to take some time, but just through those conversations and relationships and bringing people together, really start to try to dive into that. If we can start awarding dollars to try to address some of the root causes, then maybe in time it could help. Unfortunately, there will always be needs, right? But we're hoping that that can kind of start helping break some of those cycles. So I think, as we look into this new year of 2024, that is something that we will start doing. We're going to launch that through some nonprofit think tanks and some community groups that we're going to start bringing people together. So that'll be February and March-ish, so coming up really soon. Just start bringing people together based on areas they serve. Our teachers, our educators, our, hospitals, healthcare, elderly, education, youth development, we have a whole long list, including residents, right? So we want to be able to bring people together that are like-minded, and be able to just have those conversations of what are you seeing and what do you think the needs are that are going on right now. And we want to be able to use that information to help us figure out what that next step looks like for us as a community foundation, as a community leader, as a funder, as a convener, to be able to bring people together. So that'll be a big initiative that the community will start seeing from us. And so if people are listening and they want to get involved, please reach out to us. We'd love to connect as many people as we possibly can through that. So we will focus in on that. We're going to focus in hard on relationships, and just being here to do whatever that looks like for people. Like I said, a lot of times that will just be convening and bringing people together through our partnerships. Because I know this is for the Lebanon podcast, but we are the entire Boone County. And so we have relationships, Zionsville, Whitestown, Lebanon, Advance, Jamestown, Thorntown. So we've got it all. So just being able to, maybe there's something that happens in Lebanon, but we're aware of something that has happened like this in Whitestown or in Thorntown. And so connecting people and bringing people together, that's a big part of what we do, and be the cheerleader and just be able to do what we can to help.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Everybody, we've been talking with the Chief Executive Officer, Julie Reagan, with the Community Foundation of Boone County here on the Lebanon podcast. And last thing, Julie, Miss CEO, when people see, and you kind of got into kind of the mission behind the Community Foundation, and kind of what you guys are all about, when they see the logo, when they see that you guys are on a panel for a discussion going on throughout the county or beyond, what do you want that kind of mindset to be about the Community Foundation? When they see, oh, okay, I know them. Yeah. What do you want them to kind of see? Is it that collaborative piece? Is it that looking to see a need and meet a need, that type of thing? Sustainability. I mean, a lot of buzzwords that we put together, and you guys are really trying to hit them all.
Yeah, I would say all those things that you just said. The main thing, my goal is connectivity.
Gotcha.
And so when people see our logo, they see one of our wonderful staff members, board members, committee members, which, insert plug, we have multiple committees. If you want to get involved, you can always do something like that as well. But connectivity is really the main word, the main goal that we're going to be focusing on, I think, for multiple years moving forward, because that really encompasses everything. We're here to just connect people with either just other people or with dollars or, whatever that looks like. So.
And again, I'm going to put all the information on the body of the podcast. That's the best way to kind of get the conversation going is to reach out. And,
absolutely. You can find all of our staff information on the website. You can always email myself or anybody else. If you look on our website and you see the team, so there's myself, and then we have Allie Maxey, who's our Director of Education and Grant Making. Annette Jones is our Director of Finance and Investments. And then Crystal DeMaselli is our Director of Operations currently, and we are adding. So you can reach out to any of us.
And rumor has it you don't mind meeting with people.
No.
Before we hit record, everybody, there were a little more than 70. Just kind of,
there's been a lot of meetings lately. Yeah, definitely. So we are always open. I actually have one later today. Yeah, always open to having lunch, coffee, tea, whatever that looks like, or just coming into the office and meeting the team and sitting down and just hearing people's hearts and what's going on and what does that look like if it's us helping or connecting them with somebody else. So.
Well, Julie, we appreciate you connecting with us here on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck and the rest of your tenure as CEO and the rest of 2024 as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Love and Lebanon podcast. Let us know what you think about the new mics. Julie knocked it out of the park, but let us know what you think about the sound quality. You can send all of your ideas about podcast episodes to loveandlebanon@lebanon.in.gov. Thanks again for listening. Have a great start to your 2024. Take care.